My guest today is a graphic novelist mostly recognized as the writer and creator of the critically acclaimed and best-selling superhero series La Borinqueña. He's a featured storyteller in HBO's documentary Habla Now, the latest installment of the award-winning Habla series. He's the creative director and owner of Somos Arte, a Brooklyn-based creative services studio. He's worked with clients like Atlantic Records, Columbia University, Sony Pictures, and Marvel. I love Spider-Man. Please welcome my guest, Edgardo Miranda-Rodriguez.
TITA.
Okay, nene, pues mira, Edgardo, how are you, nene?
Estoy bien, gracias a Dios. You know, I'm
I mean,
here.
you are the writer and the creator of the critically acclaimed best-selling superhero series La Borinqueña. That's a big deal, nene.
Gracias, gracias. Yeah, you know, this is the same kid that you grew up in the South Bronx drawing comic books for like 25, 50 cents. And, you know, here I am decades later producing stories. It's a dream fulfilled for that child that loved storytelling. And now I get the opportunity to, you know, engage new audiences and new generations.
Pero let me ask you something. You know, you're doing a lot of really amazing work, pero maybe you have time to maybe, you know, I don't know, make a costume for me, bendito, because I would love to try that costume on.
I don't know. You know, it's a great idea. I think the great thing that working at La Borinqueña has shown me and many of us is that there's a hero in all of us. You know, we may need or may not need a cape. So I definitely can see you as a hero as well, Tita, because you use your voice as a platform to keep us all engaged and to entertain us, make us laugh, but also kind of like look at ourselves. So I think definitely I could see you as a superhero as well. Maybe even make a guest appearance with the Nitainos. That's actually the superhero team that La Borinqueña is going to be a part of. They debuted in the third issue of La Borinqueña, which we published last year, and they're going to return in La Borinqueña, guest starring Rosario Dawson. So yeah, I think that would be kind of cool to see you as a superhero.
Dun, da, da. Super Tita! Oh! Ay, my arthritis!
But let me ask you this question, Tita.
Yeah, ask me whatever you want.
What would your powers be if you were a superhero?
Well, my powers would probably be, you know, my cartera would come to life, and I could use it to like stop villainous characters. I'm like, mira, stop that, okay?
Oh, so would it be like almost like Mjolnir, like Thor's hammer, que tú se lo tira a alguien y de momento regresa a ti?
Yeah, it's kind of like Thor's hammer had a baby with Venom suit, and then it would become my cartera. That's what I'm thinking. But maybe we could talk about that. Nene, mira, you know, every time I look at La Borinqueña, I'm like, I don't know. I think they've seen pictures of me when I was younger, because I look just like her when I was younger. I had the same nice butt and everything, because let me tell you, La Borinqueña, she's hot, all right? And I don't know, you probably were inspired by photos of me in high school. I don't know. I got to check your house. Well, nene,
maybe check the artists that work with us.
I'm gonna check the artists. Yeah, because I noticed that my yearbook was missing. I was like, "Where's my yearbook?" I was just looking for it. No estaba. Anyways, so you know, by now you already have 3 graphic novels, and then you got a 4th one coming out. Que hiciste con with that really pretty actress Rosario Dawson, right?
Yes, Rosario Dawson is an ally of ours, an hermana to me, someone who we've been working with for many years. Through the course of developing the comic book, I actually wanted to connect to Puerto Ricans in the comic book industry. And one of them was Gustavo Vazquez. And it so happened that he's also Rosario's uncle. And Rosario has been active in our philanthropic work and activism for many years now, helping us with our reconstruction project, which helped us raise close to $200,000, helped us also produce a series of animated public service announcements to engage Latinx across the United States in the general election and also the Georgia runoffs. And, you know, this is also an important year for the election cycle because this fall is the midterm elections. So it's an opportunity to use our character not only for philanthropy, but also for advocacy and activism to kind of engage a broader audience in our civic responsibility. And also doing so in a way that celebrates and connects us and still keeps us Puerto Riqueño and still keeps us, you know, proud of our heritage. You know, Super excited about the new book that we're going to be doing with her, La Borinqueña, guest starring Rosario Dawson, which drops on the 6th of April, just in time for Earth Day.
I love that. You know, she's a good actor. I love that in Luke Cage. Tú sabes, Luke Cage es un fresco. He was like, oh, you want to go get some coffee? And she was like, no, because she was smart. She didn't fall for that. With all the sales that you do with the books, where does all the money go? Like once you collect it.
So what we've been doing for the last 6 years that we've been publishing La Borinqueña is we created what we refer to as the La Borinqueña Grants Program. This was created initially as a response to Hurricane Maria. Now, the reality is after a cataclysmic event like Hurricane Maria, and these are unfortunate global events that will happen periodically throughout our lives, people immediately respond. There's an incredible humanitarian effort to address the crisis, to support people affected. However, the reality is there isn't a sustainable movement that actually stays and continues to remain invested in these communities. I do have to give credit to my partner, my wife, Kyungjan Miranda. She had the foresight to say, with the success of the books that we're publishing, we should invest in creating a sustainable philanthropic project. And that's what we did. So she's the executive director of our La Borinqueña Grants Program. She put together a committee of advisors that include family members and close friends that have been dedicated to nonprofit activism and philanthropic work for years. And through that, we've been supporting nonprofits in Puerto Rico, something that we're incredibly proud of, because these nonprofits that we have been supporting over the years have now become part of our extended family. We advocate. That's a very, very important part. This conversation that we're having right now is part of the work that we're doing, because just in this exchange between myself and you, Tita, I'm able to promote the work that these organizations are doing. And I was recently interviewed by CNN for a travel piece that they were working on. And one of the things I'm most proud about that article that was published is that a good 40% of that article was my interview. And I was actually bringing to attention these organizations that we support in Puerto Rico. Organizations like Corporación Piñones Se Integra, El Departamento de la Comida, because even tourism is something that needs to be revisited. I use this phrase called decolonizing tourism. Oftentimes when people visit Puerto Rico, they'll go to a beautiful resort and that's their experience. And they say, oh, Puerto Rico is amazing, but they don't do anything outside of that bubble of that perfectly manicured, curated space. And what I challenge tourists to do, and many of us are tourists too, because if we don't live and own property in Puerto Rico, we can stay as long as we want on that sofa in our tia's living room, pero la realidad, tía les va a decir, mira, es hora que tú te consigues un cuarto en el hotel, por lo menos. So it's an opportunity to engage Puerto Rico in a more sustainable fashion that will allow you to experience it in a way that gives you a real investment in the island. So that's what we're about, you know. That's what we're about with La Borinqueña.
I love it. It's so true, because the last time I went to visit my aunt, she was like, okay, it's been 2 days, time for you to go back to New York. I was like, that's not right. Come on, Titi, I came to visit you. She's like, no, get out. She just locked it, because they be using those big padlocks on their gates. Anyways, so you also been doing, during your journey of La Borinqueña, you also hooked up with Chocolate Cortez, I noticed. And I love that chocolate. Any Rosario you go to, they have that chocolate. And that's like my favorite hot chocolate, fíjate.
Es verdad. You know, Chocolate Cortez has been around for 93 years. They're a company that's been 4 generations in, and they have always been invested in Puerto Rico. What a lot of people aren't aware is that Chocolate Cortez from the beginning has been dedicated to sustainable farming and has also done their part to celebrate the arts and education. They have their own nonprofit organization called La Fundación Cortez. So when you buy these La Borinqueña branded chocolate bars, you're actually supporting the nonprofit work provided by Fundación Cortez. And Fundación Cortez provides classes at their art space in Viejo San Juan. And it was incredibly important, particularly immediately after Hurricane Maria, because it was one of the few safe spaces that were provided where children could continue to learn, because many of the schools were closed for months after Hurricane Maria. And many people may or may not know is that there were blackouts in Puerto Rico, power outages for as far as 11 months. since Hurricane Maria. So Chocolate Cortez is in that same space of philanthropic work that we do. So that the collaboration with them was something that we're incredibly proud of. They just opened up the Choco Bar Bronx in the Mount Haven section of New York City's borough.
That's
Bronx.
my neighborhood right there.
Allá, you know?
142nd and Brook Avenue. That's where I'm from, nene.
Mira para allá. So you need to go down to the Cortez Choco Bar and pick yourself up a hot cup of chocolate. You know, my favorite dish, pero mira, hay comida ahí. My favorite dish is the chalupitas, right? The chalupitas are these mofongo taco shells stuffed with pernil, with a pico de gallo on top, drizzled with their chocolate hot sauce.
Ay, bendito, I just died inside just hearing you say that.
Oh my God, eso es tan rico. Y tienen un churrasco with a little mofongo tan cute, pero se te va a pasar rápido because it's too small to not eat in the barrel so quickly. And what's also great is that in the actual Choco Bar space in the Mount Haven section of the South Bronx, they have a great art gallery exhibition of the La Borinqueña comic strips. So the chocolate bars, when you unwrap these chocolate bars, there's actually an original story of La Borinqueña.
That's amazing.
That was produced by me in my studio and features art by Will Rosado. And the art on the front is highlighting work by Chris Sotomayor and Will Rosado. And these are amazingly talented artists that we've been working with. They work in our graphic novels. They do art on the Chocolate Cortez wrappers. And these did really well. These did so well that they sold out. They sold out immediately. So they're actually going into a second printing this spring. So we're super excited about that. If you missed out on getting your Chocolate Cortez La Borinqueña bars the first time, don't worry, you can get it the second time they're out. They're going to be coming out this spring. And where do you find them? Any supermercado that sells habichuelas y salsa de tomate o aceituna. Just go to that aisle that has those specialty items, the Latin food products, y te va a encontrar una barra riquísima de Chocolate Cortez. My gosh, did I just do like a...
You did like one of those Telemundo commercials or something like that. They reminded me like old school. Mira, nene, since you have some there, I'm going to text you my address so you can mail me that because they might be sold on the store, pero tú tienes en tu casa. So I want
bueno, tú sabes, yo soy coleccionista. That's what I am as a comic book creator. I don't not only make the comics, but I collect them too.
Yeah, I'm a collector for 5 minutes and then I'm going to scrape that chocolate. I'm going to make me a hot chocolate. Where can people like connect with you? Like one, where can people go to buy episodes of the graphic novels of La Borinqueña? And two, if people are interested in connecting with you with Somos Arte, where can they go? So, the whole thing you talked about, developing and things like that. Like if they want to apply for any programs that you have, where can they go?
So our grants program is clearly outlined on our website for La Borinqueña. So that's la-borinquena.com. That's like the easiest place to learn about everything. You can buy our books there. You can learn about the nonprofit organization in Puerto Rico that we support. You can watch the music video for Que Bonita Bandera. You could also get in touch with us. That is also the location that will connect you to all of our social media accounts. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also one of the things I want to highlight about our philanthropic work is on our website. When you go to la-borinquena.com, not only will you learn about these nonprofit organizations and the work that they're doing, their contact information is there. So if you're engaged enough in this conversation that we're having today, visit the website, learn more about these organizations, and plan your next trip to Puerto Rico and contact one of these organizations. Volunteer some of your time, learn a bomba, take a bomba class in Loíza via Corporación Piñones Se Integra. Get your, fingertips dirty in one of the farms that are part of the network of Departamento de la Comida, and truly, truly engage and learn about Puerto Rico in an incredibly new, beautiful, and necessary way.
Edgardo, you're the best. Thank you so much. Thank you, seriously. And mira, keep doing what you're doing y que Dios te bendiga, okay?
Ay, gracias, tita. Gracias, tita. Te lo agradezco. Un abrazo.
Ay, back at you, nene.
Who's that special lady with a story to tell? It's Tita.
Yo, that's a hit.